What's happening, party people? Go ahead and hit that like button for me. Appreciate your support. Hey, I wanted to give a special thanks and shout out to a few people that sent me some funds to help me get through this time where I'm, taking some time off and paying for some things for our nuptials. And man, tomorrow I will be a married man. I will have a helpmeet to help me through life. So I'm looking forward to that. So special thanks to my buddy in Vegas, Bella, Mitch, Sandy, my good friend Willie Gilly, JC, Olivia from when I used to live in the Little Rock area. We became friends, do my hair actually, and then Owen. So, hey, I appreciate your support. Thanks for caring for me and my soon-to-be bride, Mita. And today's video, I was still in the Las Vegas area, finished up some things. Yesterday, Mita was checking out Panther, cleaning some stuff out of there. And I happened to look at that scan gauge thing, man. That scan gauge said I drove about 28 hours in that 2 days. And I forget what it said the gas cost was, almost 400 bucks. That was a long couple of days drive. I'm glad that that AC didn't go out early in that trip. It went out later in that trip. So, hey, that was a good haul. Other than the AC fell and that thing ran like a clock. But anyway, there's some good information in this video clip. We're going to get going. We got some stuff to take care of today, preparing for tomorrow. And we're going to have a wonderful day tomorrow. So I think I'm going to get a tripod and live stream that on the Patreon side. And those of you that are members or just registered in there can go over there and watch it. See what it's like when you do your nuptials through the court system. What's that called? Justice of the Peace? Through the Justice of the Peace. So that's what we're going to do. That's what I got going on. Hope you enjoy today's clips. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you could click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day, we're going to be doing some coolant related stuff to this one here. But before we do that, we're going to position this BMW out here so we can put a battery tether on it. This car is basically parked while the owner is changing career paths, going through all kind of training and education. So we're going to put a battery charger on here. We got a Nico Genius 5, I think it's called. Something like that. So let's position this thing. We got the Nico charger on there coming out of the trunk. We're going to protect that plug so that it doesn't get water in it if it gets rained on. Build a little contraption for it and just leave this thing on here. So let's see what we're going to do. Only the first light was lit on the charger, so this thing is pretty low right now, between 0 and 25%. There we go. We got a hole there, a slit down around there, and a hole there. That should hold this plug fine. There it is. Keeps the plug off the ground, and any rain should just drain down and waterproof this connection there. And the plug is in there like that. Next up, we're going to do some coolant work on here. Replace the thermostat hose, thermostat housing, and whatever else we need to. Let's check our parts, get to work, draining some coolant. Here's the part. Plastic with a gasket in there. Sensor already in there. Volvo. It's the part number. 2012 XC90 3.2 engine. Let's get started draining some coolant. I took the belly pan off. Don't think I needed to do that, but I did need to take this front guard off. 2 screws there, One screw through the hole. Push it. You got to pry it on the bumper plastic a little bit to get it out. And now you see the drain cock for the radiator. Let's go ahead and drain the fluid. 13 millimeter. I was able to turn that off with the socket by hand. Shouldn't be no tighter than that. And then you go up top and open up the cap from the reservoir and it'll flow nice and fast. Once your fluid slows down or quits draining, come up here and start moving these bolts. Look like T30s, I was told. But I would pop off the hoses first. We're going to replace the hoses, so we're going to take it off up here with the clamp, and then back here. You can also move this dipstick out of the way if you like. I don't know what size the screw is on the other side of that. Looks like an 8 millimeter. Get that out of your way. But this has a clip you pry up on it. Let me get a tool, show you how to release that. Put a flat tip screwdriver or a pick or something in there. Pry that up. That is in the unlatch release position. Now you can massage that hose off. We're gonna get a big screwdriver and get it started off. You may have a screwdriver, large screwdriver. We can put your big oil pan under there. I'm gonna put a screwdriver in here and twist it to get that started off. We're replacing this stuff, so it's okay if it cracks it or something. As you can see, it's gotten started, so now I'm gonna reach under there and try to pull it off by hand. Do 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 do. Oh yeah, on there. Yeah, they've been on there for a while.
Well, you know what?
See?
Since we're replacing the hose, you don't think we just take off the whole thing? Just undo it from this side? Just undo the hose from this side, and then we...
It's still hard to get off.
Well, we're going to replace the hose anyway. I just wanted to come out with the hose.
Well, I think it's hard to get the screws on there when you got it.
Oh.
Yeah. Alright, let me grab it, try to pull it again. Man, that thing is hard. Screwdriver doesn't fit from the top. But dang, it's hard. Finally got it off, massaging it up and down, back and forth. And it did have fluid in there, so it's a good thing we had a drain pan under it. Next, we're gonna take the 7 millimeter off there, open up that clamp so we can get this hose out. We're gonna replace it. I used the shorty to get the clamp on that side loose. The other side, and this sensor, it has two ways to come loose. You can pull that spring up like I did, or you can push the tab on the wire harness and unplug it that way. I don't know why. Let me look at the new parts. Yeah, this came with a new sensor, so there's no need to pull this clip up and pull that sensor out. You can just push in the tab on the wire harness and pull it out. It's a great plug. We're gonna reach in here since we got the wire disconnected from the sensor. We got the clamp loose. We're gonna pull that lower hose off, that small one. Then we're gonna use the T30 and unbolt the thermostat housing. One of those bolts is blind. You gotta hit it without seeing it. And that's the angle that the tool has to go in to get it. So you'll be aware of that. That's a tough one. Use your magnet to fish those screws out. You don't want to drop them down there and can't find them. So now that it's loose, I'm gonna pull it away from the engine and then disconnect that other hose that's on the other side of it. Felt like it was glued on there. So now I'm gonna massage this hose off of here with a pick or something. I push that hose off. But that's the housing with the sensor. Thermostat came apart when I pulled it away from the engine, popped me in my hand, and then I got that hose off. Now we're ready to go back on with thermostat and hose. That hose in there has a notch cut in it, and that notch goes on that nipple right there. So push that hose on and line that notch up there, then tighten your clamp on. Then plug that in, then put this in place. I would do the first top two screws, get them started, and then start this one, and then use a magnet or something to guide this screw in. Once it's in this hole, then put the tool on it and tighten it down. I snugged down the 4 mounting screws. I slid the hose on. I got that clamp over there tight until it started squeezing the hose. You don't want to over tighten your hose clamps. Can't get a focus on it because of the, there you go, until it starts squeezing the hose. Plug the sensor in, heard the click. Now I'm gonna put this hose on that goes over to it. Brand new hose. You could try to reposition this clamp so it'll be easier to get on and off if you want, or you could just go with the position it has. Man, the position it has there is maybe okay, we'll see. Is this the bottom one or the top one?
I know, I think that's
I think this is the bottom one. That's the lower hose. Here's the upper hose, the part number for the upper hose here. Upper. Yeah. There we go. This is it. I could not get enough leverage on there with that oil dipstick in the way, so I pulled the 8mm out from right here and unclipped the wire on it in 2 places, pulled the dipstick out. Now I'm gonna try to attach that hose again. You could wet this to try to make it a little easier, but it is keyed. It has a nipple there and a nipple under it. This groove here and this groove here has to fit in there or it's not going to go in. 2 of us tried to get it on for 5-10 minutes with the dipstick in the way, couldn't get it. Pulled the dipstick out of the way, got 2 hands on it, popped it in 30 seconds. I actually repositioned the clamp so it'd be easier for me to get, so I had to pry open the hook and repositioned it. Clamp is on, upper radiator hose is done, the thermostat and the sensor, it is good to go. Now we're going to do the lower radiator hose, and the part for that, where'd the hose go?
Oh, next to that.
Here's the hose. We assume this attaches to the engine and this attaches to the radiator. So let's see if we can see this from underneath. And if not, we're gonna have to remove the air box and get it that way. Close that drain cock by hand, really didn't need a tool. Just put your socket on there, run it up by hand, and that's it. Here's the lower radiator hose, and it hits the engine over there. Something tees off over there. I don't know if we could get that off from down here or not. We may have to pull at least that tube that goes from the shroud over to the air box to reach down there and pull that up. So Let me do that. First, I'll take this loose, this clamp loose, and drop the rest of that fluid into a container. Got that lower radiator hose disconnected, leaked into the bucket, about 4 ounces. Now I'm gonna come up here, take this air scoop that goes down to the bottom of the air box out, 2 8mm. Took those 2 screws out of the air scoop and maneuver it up and out of the way. And that's the hose right there. We're gonna unsnap the clip and massage it off, and we'll have it disconnected from whatever that pipe is going back into the engine. Hold that clip up. It's up about that much. It's unlatched. Now you can massage that hose off. Well, let me say this. You won't be having your 12-year-old do that one for you. That was hard coming off. I had one hand on it, and the other hand on my wrist, pulling and wiggling at the same time. I got it off. So you could drop it down or pick it up, it don't matter. Wet the fitting, put the next one on. Don't do anything crazy because you don't want to break that plastic piece that it plugs into. All right, so you snake that tube back down in there, put those 2 things in, and we're gonna put the bottom together. I hand tighten that. I got the hose clamp on there until it started pinching the hose just a little bit. Got it level. I'll wipe this coolant down that spilled under there. And then I'm gonna put this front guard on. Again, you push this guard up in here behind the bumper plastic and you force it in there until you can get this side up over there. So this goes up over your subframe over here. So that one bolt goes in there. So this hooks over your subframe on each side. And it's got a little guide that falls down in that hole. You see that little guide there? That falls in the hole on top. So you know it's in place there. Takes a little bit of force to get it moving your bumper plastic, but not enough to do any damage to anything. Last up, we got the bottle. Clamp off the bottom. You see that tip is a mark on the hose that should line up with that Volvo hose over there. Just to take the stress off of it, we had to take a screwdriver, pop the sensor out the old bottle, popped it in the new bottle, and we got these 2 hoses up top, one at the bottom, cap on it. Fortunate for us, it don't have a power steering thing that attaches to it. That's always a pain in the butt. So we should be good to go. This is a Volvo part. Carried off the part number, but that's okay. It's got some connector part numbers here. Let me read them off to you. 307-41971, 307-41972. That's the actual part number to the bottle. Gilbert got a funnel. The hole of the funnel is smaller than the hole in the bottle.
You might told me to use that.
Got these clamps on, the one on the bottom, sensor plugged in. Got it hooked on the bracket. Now we should pour in and nothing should hit the ground.
I'm just doing like you, telling
Don't start shaking.
Using
Don't get the shakes.
What the wife wants me to, future wife wants me to use.
Yeah. Trying to be obedient, huh? And here we are, back to the happiest place on earth, in the smelliest car in the salvage yard ever. I need to get the parking brakes out, and I forgot to bring the bolt cutters, so I got to take this center console out, as smelly as that is. So let me get with it, get it over with, so I can get this parking brake stuff out of here and go from there. I got parking brake parts off of that one. Now I'm getting this clip off of this one and a couple of these nuts to hold this splash panel on. I don't think I need anything else, but now it's hard to remember. Back here at Volvoville, we are going to replace brake hoses on this car, a clip that holds the ABS wire, a couple of pillars, A-pillars, and whatever else we got going on here. Let me pull this car up out of the sun. In the shade, it's 89. In the sun, it's 109. It is hot in this sun. So I'm gonna pull this car up and get to work. So these clips go there. they have the nubs in there. You push that in there, and then you set the pins, push them in to keep those spread out. That holds that in. So that's how that goes. And this one doesn't look like the exact right size for this vehicle, but it will work. It came off an S60 instead of the newer XC cars. Let me put this in place. And there you have it. It will hold that wire in place. We'll replace the brake line. So I'm gonna put a tool up there, break that loose, then unscrew it from there, catch any fluid that drips down, and replace the brake line. Front brake hoses are replaced. All 4 calipers and brake lines have been flushed of old fluid. Got the new fluid in there. I'm gonna put the cap on. Oops. Gonna get a clamp for that. And we're now looking for a coolant leak. Coolant was low, like at the bottom of the box, but there was no evidence of any leakage, so we topped it up, half concentrate, half distilled water. So we shouldn't need topped off no more. It's a little bit above the full mark, but if it loses down to the minimum, we know we got a leak. For some reason, the ECU box is missing. We're gonna find one of those. Looks like the fuel rail cover is missing. We're gonna find one of those. I'm gonna find a clamp for here. And let's see what we could do about this A-pillar. I picked up 2 plastic pillars, and we're gonna see if they'll fit this car. I got it from an 04. This is like an 07 or something. They look the same. So let me pry this down and see if the plastic ones will work. They look much better. We put these pillars from an 04 in here. They fit perfect, but they don't color match. They kind of color match that part of the door panel, but not the dash, so they could be spray painted before you put them on. Next, we're gonna do the cabin air filter. Let me look that up real quick, see if I got a video for that, and get that done. I think we just gotta take out this glove box panel under here. We was gonna do the cabin filter, but that's the wrong filter. The way you know what filter you need, because there's a big filter and a small filter, which is a 1-inch filter. Part number ends in 5.2, and the large filter part number ends in 5.4. It depends on your recycle button. If you got more information on your recycle button, you need the big filter. If you have less information on your recycle button, you need the small filter. This recycle button doesn't have anything on there but a picture of a car. That's less. The other button has manual and auto on it. If it's got manual and auto, that's more information. That takes the 1.5-inch filter. So be advised on getting the right filter. Next, this panel here is busted. 2 of the clips are totally busted off. 1 of the clips is damaged. So we really need another panel to fix this. I don't know how much they are, but hey, there's a part number. Let's look that up. That thing had several tabs broke on it. That was a no-win situation. That may be it. We need to clear a couple codes and take a couple test drives. We re-secured that turbo hose. It seemed like it was sliding down off of there. It may not have been on tight enough. Now we're going to get this sunroof trim. I got a 960 trim I'm going to use to replace this one that I busted up in 12 pieces the other day. We got to be cut to size though, and I got to get this old one off of here. It's still on. It wasn't really on the front, and when I tried to secure it on the front, it started breaking. So let me get that off of there. And there you have it, the 960 sunroof trim. I trimmed it right there. Just, man, about 1/8 of an inch too short. But that's your solution, or one solution, to this problem of those plastic ones. And again, his was rattling because it wasn't installed all the way properly. And there you have it. Let's test drive these cars and clear some codes. That was it for today. Got those brake hoses replaced. Those A-pillars, man, I have no idea why they went to fabric covered pillars when them plastic ones were just working just fine. But hey, got that done. A few other things. We did find a coolant leak. That reservoir hose that goes to the top was leaking like crazy. Down all under the ECU box on the ground. We must have lost a good quart of fluid when I took that thing for a test drive. But we found where it was leaking from. Got that taken care of. So hey, I appreciate you all watching. Thanks for your support. Hope you have a great day.